Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Shelley from Mad Alice Theatre Company and I'm here to tell you a story. I am so delighted to be telling another story for Durham County Council Library Service. And the story today is called The Elephant's Child. And I have someone who would like to meet you. Yeah, it is an elephant's child. Hello. He's very shy. And can you see what he has? He has a very handsome trunk. But, and this is true, once upon a time, elephants didn't have trunks. No, they didn't, did they? And this story by Rudyard Kipling is going to explain how the elephant got his trunk. So, the elephant's child, you're going to sit and listen too, aren't you? Yeah, okay. I'll just put him down. There you go. So, once upon a time, the elephant did not have a trunk. No, no, no. Instead, the elephant would have a shiny, small snout. A bit like a pig. He could wriggle his snout. He could sniff with his snout. And achoo! Oh! He could sneeze with his snout, but he couldn't pick anything up. Now, at this time, there lived an elephant's child. He was so young, and there was so much he didn't know, and he wanted to find out about the world. So he was always asking lots of questions, such as, why does the giraffe have such a long neck? He can eat the leaves from the trees, said his older brother. Oh, said the elephant's child. Why then does a hippopotamus have a bath in dirty, muddy water? Oh, said his sister, that's because he does not have any strawberry bubble bath like me. Oh, said the elephant's child. Then why, does a monkey eat bananas? Oh, well, that's easy enough, said his dad. That's because monkeys are bananas. Well, actually, truth be told, it's because bananas are yellow and yellow is a monkey's favourite colour. Oh, said the elephant's child. But there were two questions the elephant's child really wanted to know. Question number one, what does a crocodile look like? And question number two, what does a crocodile have for its lunch? Oh, elephant's child, please just run along and go and ask somebody else, said his mum. Can't you see I am busy? Oh, go on, just give me a bit of peace and quiet. Now, at that point, above the elephant's child flew a colo bird. Oh, if you go to the great Limpopo River, you will see a crocodile. Oh, thank way, the elephant's child gathered a packed lunch. Watermelons, sugar cane and bananas, and off he set. Now, in Africa, where the elephant's child lives, it's very hot, and sure enough, it wasn't long before the elephant's child became a little bit thirsty. But eating the juicy watermelons quenched his thirst. And it was a long way to the great Limpopo River, especially if you had little legs like the elephant's child. Well, of course, he got very tired. But he energized himself by eating sugar cane and bananas. But the thing was, he had to drop the melon rind and the banana skins on the ground and leave them there, because as we know, he couldn't pick them up with that small, shiny snout. However, at long last, a little bit tired, he reached the water's edge of the great Limpopo River. And he sat himself down for a rest. It was that point he saw something in the water. It was what he thought was a great lumpy log. And the great lumpy log winked a yellow eye, and it grinned. A sharp, toothy grin. "Oh, Mr. Lumpy Log, sorry to bother you," said the elephant's child, "but would you happen to know what a crocodile looks like?" Well, the great lumpy log smiled a shiny, toothy grin, and he said, "Oh, Mr. Elephant's child, I am a crocodile, and this is what I look like." "Oh, thank you so much," said the elephant's child. You see, he had never seen a crocodile before. "Oh, I've waited and waited to meet and see a crocodile," and he turned around to set back home. But then he remembered. "Oh, Mr. Crocodile, sorry to bother you again, but would you be able to tell me, oh please, what does a crocodile eat for its lunch?" Well, it was indeed lunchtime right there and then for the crocodile. And he smiled, the biggest smile he'd ever smiled before. And he said, "Oh, Mr. Elephant's child, I'd be delighted to tell you. However, that is a very big secret. However, if you bend closely towards me, I shall whisper in your ear." "Oh, thank you so much," said the elephant's child. But as soon as the elephant's child bent down close to the crocodile, snap! The crocodile had grabbed the poor elephant child's snout in between his long, razor-sharp jaws. "Ow! Ow! Oh, please! Let go of me! Oh, you are hurting me," said the elephant's child. But Mr. Crocodile, he did not let go. No, no, no. In fact, he held on even tighter. And he pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled. Oh, and the poor elephant's child, he looked in the river, and he thought, crocodile in there who wants to gobble me up. So the elephant's child dug his heels into the water's edge, and he pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled. But what the elephant's child did not know was that Mr. Crocodile today was extra specially hungry, and there was no way he was going to miss out on elephants for starters. So the crocodile pulled even harder. He pulled and he pulled and he pulled, thrashing his tail from side to side, splashing water everywhere. Oh no, and the poor elephant's child, he thought, this is it. I am indeed going to end up in that river, eaten by a crocodile. So he gave one more try. He dug his heels even deeper into the water's edge, and he pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled, and at that moment his legs wobbled. They gave way, and he fell with a loud thud on his bottom into the muddy bank of the water's edge. But luckily for him, at that moment, along came a friendly python snake. And the snake saw that the elephant's child was having a bit of bother. So, being a friendly snake, he wrapped his tail around the elephant's waist, and then the friendly python snake pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled until plop! He had freed the elephant's child's snout from the long, razor-sharp jaws of that very naughty crocodile. And the crocodile swam away very angrily and very hungrily. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Friendly Python Snake, said the elephant's child, as he patted his poorly snout with a cool banana leaf the friendly snake had given him. Oh, but as he did so, he noticed something very strange. His snout was longer, thinner, and it was so stretched. Then the elephant's child, he got a little bit upset. Oh no, he thought, I'm going to have to stay here for days until my snout shrinks back to its normal size. Well, he was so upset because he was already missing his mum and his dad and his sister and his brother and all his friends and family. Oh, shush, 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 said the friendly snake to the elephant's child. I'm afraid to tell you, you will have that long snout for a very, very long time. In fact, all your life. Well, now the elephant's child was really upset. Oh, cheer up, said the snake, for that is a very handsome trunk. Oh, a trunk? Is it? Asked the elephant's child. Yes, and it's very useful, said the friendly python snake. Oh, useful? Asked the elephant's child. Why? Well, said the friendly python snake, you can sloop up water from the great Limpopo River and give yourself a cool shower. Also, you will be able to shoo the flies away. And you'll be able to pick up lots of things. And at that point, the elephant's child remembered all of the lemon rind and the banana skins he had dropped on the way. He thanked the friendly python snake once again and he set back off home. He was so happy and felt very proud with his new trunk. So, on his way home, he swayed his trunk merrily from side to side, and he even sung himself a tune through his trunk. He was able to pick off fruit from the trees rather than waiting for the fruit to drop like he had to do before, and he could pick up grass to eat rather than having to bend down on his knees and munch like he had to before. And on his way, with that great trunk, he picked up all the banana skins and the melon rind. And just before he arrived back home, above him flew the Colo bird. Thank you, Colo bird, for without you I would never have met a crocodile. Now, everybody was so pleased to see the elephant's child when he got home. His mum was very pleased, although she gave him a good telling off. Baby elephant's child, you must never, ever wander on such a long journey on your own again. I was worried sick. But there was one journey all of the elephants let him go on, and that was the journey to take them all to the great Limpopo River, because every elephant wanted to ask the crocodile what he ate for his lunch. And that is the end of the story. Hope you enjoyed it. Shall we see if the elephant's child enjoyed it? One moment. Come on then, elephant's child. Did you enjoy that story? He did. So, thank you again for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening. Take care, and we hope to see you another time. Shall we go?